It's that time again. Time for 24 Minutes with Brady and Stacy.
Let's switch channels. This show is dull.
You bet.
24 minutes is all we have to talk about today's topics and news and views and listener suggestions.
All that good stuff that Brady and Stacey have brought for years, right here for you. We'll start a timer at the beginning of the show, 24 minutes. At the end of the timer, the show's done.
It doesn't matter if we're solving world hunger or brokering for world peace. Once that buzzer goes off, we're done.
Let's put this show out of its misery.
Now on with the show.
Hey there, welcome to another edition of 24 Minutes with Brady and Stacey. I'm Bob Brady.
I'm Stacy Sturm.
Hey Ziggy, set a timer for 24 minutes.
24 minutes, starting now.
So that's how it goes. Today on the show, Stacey, you have a special guest.
We do. So we're here with Joie. Is it Calio or Calio? I'll let you fill that. Calio. Okay. So we're here with Joie Calio. He is one of the frontmen and one of the founders of a band that a lot of people probably remember from the 80s and 90s called Dada. And so we're going to be talking with him today. He is our special guest. So welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. And we are purely 90s, no 80s.
No, it was
Purely
92.
90s.
No, it was a 92
Okay,
hit. I know
all right.
that for a fact.
right.
When you said, so here's this thing, Joey. So Stacey says last week, hey, I know Joie Calio from Dada.
He's
And
like,
I'm
of course you have him on your Facebook.
Of course. And I play, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I played the shit out of that song in 1992 when I was working in
Yep.
Grand Forks, North Dakota. And it was, yes, I know. Tell me about it. You got to go somewhere to work. But anyway,
We played the shit out of that song in like 98, 99
yeah,
still.
we did
I
too.
remember
Yeah.
Todd had that on rotation at Y93 quite a bit. Like, yeah, almost into 2000. I know that for sure.
I gotta admit, I've been to every state but two, Alaska, and I thought it was North Dakota, but
Yeah.
I think those are the two places I have not
Really?
been to.
Alaska and North Dakota are very similar. So
They are-
today they are at least. We're very
See,
similar today.
Yeah, I can see
So,
that.
so I bring this up, Joey, because I'm so surprised that that song didn't peak as high as I thought it did on the U.S. charts. Like that was played everywhere, but according
Yeah.
to this chart position here, it only got to number 102 on the U.S. charts.
On what chart are you talking about? though?
It says U.S. It must be the U.S. Billboard chart.
Yeah, just the regular Billboard. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's a real pop, or a super heavy crossover.
Correct.
I think we were number 2 in the alternative
You were,
chart.
yeah, it was alternative. Yeah, that's. I was not surprised by that, but I mean, I wasn't at an alternative station. It was a top 40 station and playing the hell out of that song. It was just, I think at that time in '92, like the vibe of that song, and I still it's in my head. Just thinking about singing it now. Like it's just the vibe. What came up? What's the message behind that song?
Well, first off, here's how that song happened. It came to me in a dream. I'm no joke. I was living in a little shack in Malibu, right on the water, but like, the tiny little box. And I had this dream where I heard the melody, da 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 da
Mhm.
out. And then I saw a bus go by, like a classic, one of those big, LA buses. And it
Yeah.
had the word Disneyland on it. And I woke up. And it was like 5 in the morning or something like that. And I just had this, ironic kind of take on the world, like Disneyland. I just like robbed a grocery store. Now I'm going to Disneyland. So I just started writing a bunch of lines like that, went back to sleep. Woke up at whenever it was, kind of rearranged it, called Mike Gurley, the guitar player in Dada, and we were kind of, we're the writing partners. That's how this whole band started. We were in a band before that sucked. And the problem was for us, it's like, yeah, it's not like we didn't know what we were doing to a certain extent, but the thing, all our friends were actually getting signed. And why weren't we getting signed?
Yeah.
We had cool haircuts and a car and a girlfriend, but and a record
The 3
collection.
requirements.
Yeah, and a record collection, but it's like, what's happening? And then it's like, oh, you know what? The songs we write suck. So we decided instead of starting a new band, because musicians are very needy and they feel like
Yeah.
if I'm on the band, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. We live 3 blocks away from each other. We just set a goal of let's just write songs. Don't put a band together, write songs. A friend of ours who was in that band that sucked went to another band. They started touring with like Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're called Mary's Danish. He comes back over to Mike's house about 7 months later, after we broke up in the other band that sucked, and said, "What are you guys doing? These songs are great. You know, in fact, we're playing the Coach House on Friday night. You guys are opening." We go and we don't have a band. He's all, "Just do what you just did here." We played 7 songs, got a standing ovation. And that's when I said to Mike, when we walked up, "I think we got something here."
Yeah.
So that's sort of how this whole thing started. And then Disneyland came to the dream, came in the dream. I go to Mike's house. He kind of adds the Led Zeppelin riff bridge to it. And he also extends. Mike's one of these guys that's like, he's kind of a virtuoso guitar player. So if Joey writes a riff, Mike needs to take it, and it's like, "Thanks, Joey. Now I will make this riff better. Thank you." So, and that's cool. I get it, because now I play more guitar in this other band, Seven Horse, and so I get it. It's like, you want, when you're playing your signature riff, you kind of want to be the person that had something to do with it. So I'll stop there. 24 minutes, I'll stop there.
So that seems like it's kind of opposite. Like usually people form a band and then struggle forever, and then they get signed, and then they're hit. And you basically just formed a band because you got a gig, and then you guys
Sort of, yeah,
basically get signed. Yeah.
But the panic was on, because it's like, we have to have a drummer. But really, what we started, the guy comes back and says, "Hey, you guys are going up the coast with us. And you're opening the tour." So as a 2-piece, so their drummer would come out and kind of jam with us, but they were playing for like, they just got off tour with Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're playing for this kind of punky, funky, cool, hipster, K-rock vibe. And we're just sitting there. All we've got is acoustic guitars. I mean, seriously, that's what we had at that point. So one of the girls would come out and say, and this is pre-internet, "Hey, I want you guys to listen up. Some friends of ours are going to come out. They just got off tour with Metallica in South America." And everybody went and listened. And we did. And it was kind of game on.
They would do exactly. Oh.
Yeah. That's so funny. But now, are you surprised that like the staying power of that one song, I still hear it all the time, whether I'm on the radio, in the grocery store, in an elevator, on Sirius, like on internet, like it's still everywhere. Are you surprised by that? How much it stayed around?
I mean, I don't want to sound egotistical, but I'm not. Let me put it to you this way: I'm not surprised that's the song that stayed around for this band, and I'll tell you why. Because before, I was working a job while we got signed to IRS, while Dada got signed, and it was still pretty much me and Mike. Phil kind of came in during that era. So I learned a lot I worked at Geffen Records for 4.5 years. That was like going to college for a musician. Like, musicians don't know anything about the business, especially back then. So for me, walking around the halls of Geffen Records when they were like the biggest record company in the world, practically everything was a hit that they were putting out. I saw the real deal, like the inside of the burrito. And I learned a lot about what it took to have a hit. And one of the things is, a hit is technically it's just a reactive song, right? It's not the best song. It's the song that people go, "What is that?" And when we would tour, after that Mary's Danish tour, me and Mike just started playing a lot, and kids would come up and say, "Hey, what is that Disneyland song?" And I'm going, "I think that might be our reactive song." And so I presented that actually to IRS Records as such. And Miles Copeland, who was the, basically the owner, president of the company, said, "That song sucks. It's not going to be on the record." And a battle ensued that in 24 minutes, we don't totally have enough time.
Right.
Needless to say, we won the battle, got the song on, and it was the only hit Dada really had, big hit, really. So he did come apologize to me later in England.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Because so here's my one question. So you have that hit, and it comes you in a dream. So I've always asked this since I did a 17-year radio career. I love music. Why not another hit? Why is it only one?
I mean, that's just elements of
Is it?
of the universe. I mean, everything is moving at all times. Just like every day and every night is different. So nothing is the same. Every day is different. Every day is hitting you with a new set of mathematical schisms. It was timing. You know,
Yeah.
it was timing,
Yeah.
it was the right song at the right time, blah, blah, blah. It's just one of those things. And IRS Records, it wasn't the biggest record company on the block. It wasn't the smallest, but it was
Yeah.
definitely a medium-sized label. I mean, that's why REM left, and bands that kind of started there leave. It's like the junior squad. In fact, they went out of business while we were on tour.
Wow.
We had to
Oh,
turn the
crap.
bus around on our third record. And then we get signed to MCA, and basically they go out of business. So I don't know if it was us, but
I think it's you.
yeah,
I
we
think it's
started
you
killing
guys.
record companies. But it's just a timing thing. Honestly, I think,
Yeah.
because it's definitely not our best song, and we've got other catchy songs. So
Well,
whatever.
100%. And it's just like I say, like the bands are talented. You have great writers, but it's just,
Yep.
I think a lot of people, it's just, it's people too, right? Like that song is a great song. It's catchy. It's got a great hook. got a great
Everybody has
lyric.
said it
Yeah.
before. I'm going to
Yes.
Disneyland. Yeah.
And now,
it's
You
huge.
got to hit him.
So what's with the spelling of it?
Okay, so long story short, when we were in with Ken Scott, he produced a record. Ken Scott, he did 2 big Bowie records, Ziggy Stardust, and the one before that, I'm spacing out on the name of that, the one with Life on Mars and all that. Oh, Changes. It has Changes on it.
Changes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So he's huge. He worked on he started with the Beatles, for God's sake, and he's done a bunch of other stuff. He made a deal with us, actually. If we would do a demo with him, a 24-track demo, he would do the record. So that was like is that really a deal? Is that a question? Of course we're going to do that. So we do it. We spend 3 months in the studio. By the third month, when you're in a recording studio for 3 months, and people rarely do that anymore,
Right.
a lot quicker now. You just start getting this studio fever kind of vibe, and everything, just jokes start happening. And Ken Scott had his whiteboard, all the songs and like all the tracks. What have we done? What do we, you check it off. You've probably seen those before. And we just started, like, before Ken came in, we would start changing the names of the song into little jokey things. I mean, it was just boredom. I mean, boredom's the wrong word. It was just sort of like, there's days where all you do is listen to the drummer, and it's kind of like, okay, you're not really doing much that day. So you start changing stuff. And we just kind of thought, hey, that might be a way to just avoid any issues with using
With
this
copyright stuff.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it was a back end, way to get to that title, and maybe making it easy. And by the way, Disney did kind of have a meeting, we heard, and they said it's fine. And then apparently they have a boat where they have parties, and they cranked the song. We heard back about that too. They loved it.
So now you're on tour. Let's get down to the nitty gritty of stuff. Give us some really fun tour stories.
Okay, so one of the best tours still to this day was we did about half of Sting's world tour, and his world tours go on for like a year. So we did most of America and Canada, and then there was a break where he was doing some other stuff. He was playing with like the Grateful Dead and things like that back then. And then we joined back up in Europe. So when we were in Europe, my dad, his wife, and my little sister come out, and they see, like, I don't know, 5 shows. And one of them was this show in Antibes at a Roman-built Coliseum. It's the one where Metallica did the video, yada yada. Pink Floyd played.
Oh,
I
yep.
don't think they do concerts there anymore, but I mean, it's crazy. I mean, when
Yeah.
you walk into this place, there's no electricity. It has to all be brought in by shore power, and
Oh
so
God.
they have the backstage is basically a tent. Okay,
Yep.
inside a catacomb. Don't start walking around in the dark. It's like stay. So my dad, he was a video nut. He was always videotaping, and he had his camera, and I said, Dad, see that sign right there? No taping. So please don't.
Yeah.
Just take a break till when we go outside, get us outside when we're playing, all that stuff is fine. So he's backstage, and we're all just eating. I'm eating with the guitar player in Sting's band, and I can see Sting, who's a tall, buff guy, and then his manager, who's taller and more buff. These 2 blonde guys, just like talking, and they're whatever they're talking about. I can just kind of see them. They're about 12 feet away. all of a sudden I see Sting and he yells, "Hey!" like that. And I'm all, what? And I look up and my dad was with his video camera on. And this is so my dad. He was a dentist, very high IQ kind of guy. And he was outside. He goes, "Oh, I thought it was okay if I stayed outside the tent." And I'm
Oh,
all, oh my God. It's like I've been on tour. We've done the rock tour in America. The guitar player of Sting's band would come and jam with us on our show at other clubs the same night. Because like in Chicago, we were big, so he would, when the Sting tour show was done, he'd come and jam. I just saw the whole thing just go away.
Right. Like
Like my
he's
dad
not
said,
gonna
"We
like us
chocolate."
anymore. Yeah.
Next day, we're playing on near Cannes, and I'm not sure if that was. I think it's Nimes. So we're there. It's in the city square, which is basically a nude beach is behind you, like, and the city square is there, and it's really like French as hell. It's awesome. The backstage, because it's outside, the backstage was this long, skinny hallway, long, because it's a big stage. And that's the only way from one side of the stage to the other. So I'm walking
Yep.
down the skinny hallway. Haven't seen Sting since that moment. Sting comes in the other way and starts running at me, and I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna like punch me or something. What's about that? He runs up to me and he gives me a big hug and he goes, "Joey, I'm so sorry. I yelled at your dad. I didn't know it was your dad." So, and I'm all, will you please find him and yell at him again? Because that was embarrassing.
oh,
So that's like one of my favorite stories that ever happened. Sting and the band were phenomenal, super cool. We partied, I'll just say that, and a really good time.
do you learn anything on those tours from guys like Sting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little too much actually. I mean, that's sort of, I kind of feel like we toured for 15 months on that first record. Okay. We toured with Sting. We toured on our own. We opened for Depeche Mode, which one of those shows was at a different Roman Coliseum in Portugal. Incredible. Long, real short story there. We're rolling into this other, it's slightly smaller, only like 10 or 12,000 seater Coliseum. And one of the roadies for Depeche Mode goes, "Hey, you know why you got this gig?" And I'm all, "No, but I know you're about to tell me." I'm wearing a song. And he's all, "Because the last band got tired of being pelted by garbage." And I'm all, "Awesome."
Oh my God.
That's on my bucket list. Because I just like, nope, not going to phase me. I'm into it. I want the garbage. Turns out we go out there and here it comes, play the first note of Dim. And the whole place erupts. We're huge in Portugal. Nobody tells us. They know every line, every lyric to every song. They start pumping up and down.
Awesome.
Like, no garbage.
No
So,
was that
no
disappointing? You're like, we
Yeah.
didn't get garbage thrown at
Yeah.
us. That's
So-
like a rite of passage.
And that's
Yeah.
the thing too. You don't know where you are big. Like it's just you go to these places
Not
like,
that
oh my
bad.
God. Yeah.
Well, you would if you were on Warner Brothers or Geffen or something like that.
Correct.
When you're on IRS,
Yeah.
you may not know. The thing was, we were big on their version of MTV and their radio station, Radio Energia. That was like the FM. Their play was, we're like the FM stations in America in the 70s, where the DJs made the playlist. If they liked your record, you're going to get played, and that's what happened. So to go back to your other question, though, what happened was 15 months. Oh, we toured with Crowded House. That was awesome. Played like 29 shows in about 33 days in the UK. We played everywhere in the UK. It was fantastic. They were great guys too. The best food on tour, by the way, was Crowded House. But you start kind of getting like, oh, I got this all figured out. 15 months in, the two little guys with acoustic guitars, and now we've got like one of the greatest drummers that we could have ever hoped for. We just start kind of getting like, hey, we're good. We got this now. And it was sort of like, maybe we don't need a producer next time. Maybe we just need a good engineer, yada, yada, yada. We turned down Ken Scott. We turned down the guitar player in Talking Heads. I'm spacing out on his name right now. I mean, I can't believe what the people we turned down. It's just complete stupidity. And we got an engineer from Soundgarden who didn't work out. It just was not the right fit. And, that's the kind of thing that hurts you, is your ego. And like I said, we kind of learned a little too much.
Yeah, so it is a lot of nepotism too, right? Like a lot of people still be in the same bands and travel from band to band. You learn all these things that way too.
Well, nobody switched out of this band.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, really, we were we were late bloomers. Let's just put it that way. I mean, we were, nobody in that band had done anything big. I've been in recording studios, like literal 24 track recording studios since I was 15, mainly because other dudes would go to like engineer school or just stuff like that. And or somebody with money would see a band I was in when I was a kid and come with drugs and money and like the guy selling drugs at our shows, and it all works out for him to spend money on us. And I learned a lot in those studio sessions too, but there's nothing like being out on the road and working at Geffen Records for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
So nicest person you've met?
Besides
not
Sting?
the nicest person you've met. Yeah.
Wow, not the nicest person I've met.
Yeah.
Okay, so nicest person. Well, it might be a tie between Ringo, who Dada sang on a Ringo record. I don't know if you know that. We sang a song, a record. What's the record called? Oh, Vertical Man. It's
Vertical
actually
Man.
the last main
Okay.
record on a main label, on a big label, and we did the song La Di Da, which basically was a call. Like we were the least famous people in the room, but we knew the engineer, and he goes, "Hey, Ringo's looking for guys to come down and sing." And I told him, "I know these 3 guys that can really sing." So we go down there. Long story, I'll shorten down. This is a good part. We do the show. Literally, there's guys from the Eagles, everywhere. Just everyone's famous. We're not famous. Everyone's famous, but us. I mean, we got our little bit of fame. It was during we had 3 records at that point. Ringo and his wife, Barbara, are right about 5 feet away from me, and I'm just soaking in. We just finished. I'm like looking around the room, like, take it in, take it in, take it in. And I can hear them going, "Hey," she goes, "Hey, that guy was a good singer." And I'm going, I wonder who they're talking about. And Ringo goes, "Yeah, he was a good singer." And he walks right over to me, taps me on the solar plexus and goes, "You're a good singer." And I was like, "What?" And then Phil's behind me, who's a Ringo, like Phil could just barely talk to Ringo. He's a huge fan.
Yeah.
He taps me on the back and he goes, "I heard that." And I'm all, "Yes."
Yes.
So
you're like, Dad, did you get that on videotape?
Dad was not there. He would not. I love my dad, but I don't think I could trust him in that situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ringo and Sting, I'd say those guys are pretty. The guys, Tim Finn, I can't remember which Finn from Crowded House. That guy was very nice. They were all nice. Those guys were, people that you think maybe stuck up and stuff like that. No, these guys were super nice. Not nice. It kind of goes more down to like low level band members that like are opening for you, or you're opening for them before you're famous, and they're pissed that you're in their town. That's happened to me. So there's kind of like a group award for those guys. There's one guy in Canada that caused some problems, and another guy on the East Coast here has caused problems. But stuff happens. Weird stuff happens. Like there was this one guy in Florida. We were on a lower stage, so you could get right up to us. Room was packed, and that guy, I'm pretty sure he was mad because his girlfriend was watching the band too much, not paying attention. He walks up to my bass and he knew what to do. He turned the volume all the way.
What?
Did that just happen?
Sabotage.
So that guy, that guy follows me outside and basically wants to fight. And so, okay, how am I going to diffuse this? Because it's like, I can't get into a fight.
You're like, I haven't done anything. I just played music. Talk to your girlfriend.
I've been in exactly one fight, and it was a giant room exploded. I got punched in the mouth, and I was on the ground that fast, and was like, I'm out of here.
You're done.
I don't need this. So I diffused the thing with this guy. I end up getting him a beer, and everything's cool. So but weird stuff happens on the road. Let me just we'll leave it there.
How can people find you now? What are you doing?
Dada's about to do a tour, and we haven't toured since 2017, I think. So we're going across. We're doing just weekend fly shows. So we're still getting offers. But if you go to Dada Forever on Facebook, you can get the updates and all the shows. I mean, we're playing pretty much all over America, and the places that you don't see, just stay in touch because they'll probably be coming. And then Seven Horse, we've been touring. We just made our 5th record about a year ago, and that is on 7horsemusic.com. So they're all kind of integrated. It's not, there's no war going on. It's all the same people basically. So that's it. Those are the things I'm
Cool.
doing right now.
I'm glad I got that in because that's the buzzer. Hear the sound, hear the beeper?
24
That's it.
minutes. That goes so fast. It goes fast.
Perfect, Joey. You're the
every
best.
time. Yeah.
Joie Calio from Dada. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to 24 Minutes with Brady and Stacy.
That was the worst thing I ever heard.
It was terrible.
It was horrendous.
Well, it wasn't that bad.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, there were parts of it I liked.
Yeah, I liked a lot of it.
Yeah, it was good.
It was great.
It's wonderful.
Oh, bravo.